The morning sun painted the prehistoric garden in hues of amber and gold, casting long shadows across a world teeming with ancient life. Ferns swayed like dancers in a gentle breeze, their fronds whispering secrets of a time long past. Dragonflies, each as big as a child's hand, darted through the misty air, their iridescent wings catching the light. In this primordial paradise, two young explorers crept forward on tiptoe. Leith, a curious 10-year-old boy with tousled hair and wide eyes, led the way. His sister, Lamar, just 8 years old and bursting with energy, followed close behind. They weaved between towering cycads and ducked under the arching necks of grazing sauropods, their hearts pounding with excitement. But it wasn't the garden's wonders that had captured their attention this morning. No, it was something far more extraordinary. A voice, a deep, rumbling voice that seemed to shake the very ground beneath their feet. Most dinosaurs roar, some stomp, but only one in the whole prehistoric garden could talk today. Stego wasn't just talking. He was shouting for help. The siblings exchanged a quick glance before breaking into a run. They rounded a massive fern and skidded to a halt, mouths agape. There, in a sun-dappled clearing, stood Stego the Stegosaurus. His plates gleamed like polished shields, catching the morning light and throwing it back in dazzling patterns. But it was his face that truly captivated them. Expressive eyes filled with intelligence, and a mouth that was impossibly forming words. Quick, hatchlings! Stego boomed, his voice a mix of urgency and kindness. Under my tail. A storm's brewing, and it's going to be a doozy. As if on cue, the sky darkened. Clouds rolled in, growling like ancient beasts awakening from slumber. The wind picked up, whipping through the garden and sending leaves spiraling into the air. Leith and Lamar sprang into action. They scurried around the clearing, gently gathering tiny squeaking dinosaur babies. Some were no bigger than kittens, with scales still soft and eyes full of wonder. The children carefully placed them in a hollow beneath a fallen log, right under the protective arc of Stego's massive tail. "Wow, Stego!" Lamar exclaimed, her voice barely audible over the rising wind. "Your tail is like a fortress." Stego chuckled, a sound like boulders tumbling down a mountainside. "Indeed it is, little one. These spikes aren't just for show. They're my best defense against any predator foolish enough to try and take a bite." As the first fat raindrops began to fall, Leith noticed something peculiar. "Hey, look!" he shouted, pointing at Stego's back. "There's steam rising from your plates." Stego twisted his long neck, trying to see. "Yes, good eye, young scientist. These plates aren't just for protection. They're my own personal heating and cooling system." The storm unleashed its fury in earnest now. Rain lashed down in sheets, driven sideways by howling winds. Lightning crackled across the sky, followed by booms of thunder that shook the very ground. But Stego stood firm, his broad body a shield against the elements. Leith and Lamar worked tirelessly alongside their dinosaur friend. They gathered enormous palm fronds, stacking them carefully to create a windbreak. All the while, Stego regaled them with facts about his unique anatomy. "You see," he explained, raising his voice above the storm, "my plates are full of blood vessels. In the morning, they help me warm up by soaking in the sun's heat. And on scorching days, I can cool down by letting the breeze flow over them." Lamar's eyes widened with understanding. "So that's why you were steaming earlier. The cool rain hit your warm plates." "Precisely," Stego beamed, clearly delighted by her quick thinking. "And did you know? The surface of my plates is covered in keratin, the same stuff that makes up your fingernails." Leith examined his own nails, then looked back at Stego's massive plates with newfound appreciation. "That's incredible! But how do you know all this stuff about yourself?" Stego winked, a surprisingly human gesture on his reptilian face. "Let's just say I've had a lot of time to think about it. About 150 million years, give or take." The children laughed, the sound bright and cheerful against the storm's fury. Even some of the baby dinosaurs peeked out from their shelter, chirping curiously at the strange two-legged creatures who seemed so at ease with their giant protector. As suddenly as it had begun, the storm's rage began to subside. The wind died down to a whisper, and the rain softened to a gentle patter. Sunlight broke through the clouds, turning leftover raindrops into sparkling jewels on every leaf and petal. Stego lowered his head, bringing his eyes level with the children. "Well done, my young friends," he rumbled softly. "Teamwork truly is the best defense of all." Leith and Lamar beamed with pride, knowing they'd not only weathered a prehistoric storm, but had also learned more about dinosaurs than they ever could from a book. As the garden came back to life around them, Stego invited the siblings to help him with one last task: breakfast for the hatchlings. They waded into a nearby pond, harvesting tender water plants with care. "You know," Stego mused as they worked, "some people think we Stegosaurus were simple creatures. But we were quite clever in our own way. Take our diet, for instance. We didn't just munch on any old leaves. We selected the most nutritious plants and even used gastroliths, stones in our stomachs, to help grind up tough vegetation." Lamar paused, armful of dripping greenery forgotten. "You ate rocks." Stego laughed, a sound like distant thunder. "Not exactly. We swallowed small stones that stayed in our stomachs. Think of them like nature's food processor." As they fed the hungry hatchlings, Leith couldn't contain his curiosity any longer. "Stego," he asked, "what was life really like back in your time?" The great dinosaur's eyes took on a faraway look. "Ah, the Jurassic period. It was a world of giants, where the air was thick and warm, and plants grew to staggering heights. We Stegosaurus roamed in small herds, always alert for danger. Allosaurus was our main predator, nasty piece of work, all teeth and claws. Weren't you scared? Lamar whispered, instinctively moving closer to Stego's protective bulk. Sometimes, Stego admitted. But that's why we evolved these impressive defenses. My plates could make me look bigger to scare off threats. And if that didn't work, well, let's just say my tail spikes weren't just for show. As the morning wore on, the prehistoric garden hummed with renewed life. Pterosaurs wheeled overhead, their leathery wings casting fleeting shadows. Herd of long-necked Diplodocus lumbered by in the distance, their footsteps sending tiny ripples across puddles left by the storm. Leith and Lamar knew their time in this magical world was drawing to a close. But before they left, Stego had one last surprise for them. Close your eyes, he instructed, a mischievous glint in his gaze. The children obeyed, giggling with anticipation. They heard Stego moving, felt a gust of wind, and then, okay, look! They opened their eyes to find Stego had arranged his plates in a fan-like display, creating a stunning rainbow as sunlight filtered through the thin bone and keratin. The siblings gasped in unison. A little trick I learned, Stego said with a wink. Not just for defense or temperature control. Sometimes it's nice to add a bit of beauty to the world. As Leith and Lamar prepared to leave, they realized they'd gained far more than just dinosaur facts. They'd learned about courage in the face of storms, the power of working together, and how even the most unlikely creatures could become friends. Remember, Stego called as they waved goodbye. Science is all around you. Keep your eyes open, ask questions, and never stop exploring. The children promised they would. Knowing that their adventure in the prehistoric garden had ignited a lifelong passion for discovery. As they walked away, Lamar turned to her brother with a grin. You know what, Leith? I think I want to be a paleontologist when I grow up. Leith nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. Me too, sis. Me too. And as the mists of time swirled around them, carrying them back to the present, the siblings knew that the wonders of the prehistoric world would always live on in their memories, in museums, and in the endless possibilities of scientific discovery.